Attention, everyone. Santa has an announcement to make.
For the good of Christmas, for the good of my family, I, Santa Claus, have decided to retire. We have agreed, Counselor, right? You're interviewing to become Santa Claus.
Yes. Can't wait to rub this in Brady's face.
All I do is
Give us your best ho, ho, ho.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Ho, ho, homaha! Homaha! You see that? I called a little audible there.
Anyhow, thanks so much.
I sing, by the way.
No, Brady can sing.
slay all day, slaying anything and anyone that's in my way. You just good, but I'm so cool.
That's me.
All I do is slay.
During the last few years, we've ventured into a lot of different fields. I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing. It was all started by a mouse. All started by a mouse.
Simple circles. Oh, gosh. Mickey is a thing we all share. There aren't many of those around.
Oh, wow.
I'm blacked out on the rest of the screens because I always forget to take that down. Anyway, welcome to Talk Wrestling here on, let's see, the No DQ YouTube channel, the Greg Cherry brand, the Castasians YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, my Twitter, the No DQ Twitter, and for the first time in forever, I guess as I'm wearing this hat, right? We are on Instagram Live as well. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Tuesday night, September 20th, 2022. And we're just Clint's been enjoying the previews over on Twitter, on YouTube and Twitter along the way here as we're getting ready to go live here. So JJ's here with us on YouTube, as is Safet, Matt's as well. Lots of folks here. I did star a couple of the comments that are on YouTube, so bear with me here. But again, for those of you, I just realized I blocked out the part of the shot there. There we go. Hi. Those of you that have not been keeping up with me, this is going to be the last one that I know for sure is going to take place. I only say for sure because I know my schedule for this weekend. Anything beyond that is completely to be determined as of now. So once I'm done with Friday's work day, I will have a better idea of what I'm doing going forward, what days I'm available going forward, which, by the way, can change in the drop of a, maybe not Mickey ears, but the drop of a hat because of the holidays. So Halloween's right around the corner. You saw the preview for Renegades Reviews channel coming up soon. An entire month of spooky and horror. So definitely looking forward to that. But the Mouse also celebrates the Halloween season too. So we'll see what plays out coming up next one. Matt, and again, thank you. Definitely, please everybody hit the like button. If you're on Instagram with us for the first time, we really appreciate you being here. Of course, the Twitter folks are around as well. Let's see what we got going on here. Can we see? It doesn't tell me who's on Twitter anymore for whatever reason, but CJ's here. He was here during the Sapboy Sports Bar, so we again appreciate everybody that has come along for the ride. All right, I'll get to the questions now. First one came in during the trailers from Virtue's Army. He says, hello, Jeff. Are you excited for War Games and Fight Pit debuting on the main roster at Survivor Series? And who should face the Bloodline inside War Games? And he's suggested Team Drew be Drew, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, and the Street Profits. Not a bad booking, Virtue's Army. I think it really depends what goes on November 5th coming up out in Country Redacted, as Noah would say. It really depends if they continue the story with Logan. And yes, Mr. the Mouse, complete with hat, JJ. Yes, I actually got this just to, like, as I was running the trailer, my delivery showed up. So yeah, this is going to be the official Jeff Meacham Mickey Mouse hat because it's a baseball cap too, and you know me and my baseball caps. So anyway, I think that's the blood way to go. That shows you how tired I am. I think the way to go would be to have the bloodline, which at this point now includes 4 members of the Anoa'i family, as well as the honorary Uce, Sami Zayn. And if you put Kevin Owens in there with him on the opposite team, then you get the dynamic we've all been waiting to see play out. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Will Sami choose his best friend? Will he choose to stick with the bloodline? That is, I think, crucial. But again, we'll see how things play out over at Crown Jewel, because as we saw over the weekend, we're going to have Logan Paul challenging Roman Reigns for the championship. So that'll be most intriguing to see how the month starts and the month ends. So yeah. And Joey Perez says, "Hi Jeff, if Warner and NBC do indeed merge, what happens to AEW?" That is a very good question. I am not near educated enough to give that a proper response, only because I don't know how that would all work. I mean, I would think Comcast, being the owners of NBC Universal at the moment, would get that merger blocked by the SEC. I don't know that, but that sounds like a very much a too big for SEC's britches type scenario. But I could be wrong. If they end up being under the same umbrella as far as television goes, I don't really think it affects the product, other than they're no longer really fighting, I guess, for rating supremacy, because they're all in the same family. So, yeah, anyway. Psycho says, "Should the War Games cage have a roof? Why or why not?" I have always, at least until very recently, been of the opinion that War Games is not War Games without submit or surrender only and the roof on the cage. But Triple H made a very good point during his interview, I believe, over the weekend. I couldn't remember who was with. I'm sorry for my lack of memory there. But he did mention there were several times in the War Games era in WCW and the NWA where the roof was problematic in that it could cause even further injury. You talk about Brian Pillman when Sid Vicious powerbombed him, he had no time to rotate and came down right on top of his head. That's going to cause issues down the line, especially in today's style. So I think not having a roof, I can concede on the double cage, but I still say it needs to be submit or surrender. War Games is about war, and the only way you don't win a war by pinning somebody or covering them for a 3 count. You defeat somebody in war by making the other side give up, surrender, submit, whatever. That rule should be firmly in place. And a follow-up from Virtue's Army talking about War Games. Who did War Games better, WCW or NXT? I'll go back and say Jim Crockett Promotions, the WCW's predecessor, did War Games the best. But of the two, WCW did War Games very well for the most part. 98 was awful, god-awful. Russo's Revenge in 2000 was the drizzling shits. Nothing to do with Russo. It did, but it's not because of just Vince Russo that I hate that match. It's not War Games. It's only one cage, for one thing. One ring. 97, 96 were very well done. 93 with the Dream and Dustin and the Nasties was 95 with Hulkamaniacs in the Dungeon was what it was. 92's was the best. You had Sting Squadron against the Dangerous Alliance. 91 with the Horsemen was actually pretty good. They were hit and miss, but I think WCW and the NWA, Jim Crockett before them, did better, far better than NXT. Now, I will say that NXT's War Games have been very well done. I got to see an NXT War Games event live, so that was a unique thing. It was very, very cool to see the cage lower, even if it was not the official War Games cage from WCW. It was still very cool. Had that aura about it still when that cage was being lowered. All we needed was the music, the subliminal drop music, and probably would have been a perfect thing. Do I think Hollywood Hogan was overrated? Yeah. I think that Hollywood Hogan was allowed far too much leeway because it was Hogan to not be better in the ring. But you also have to keep in mind, nobody kidded themselves into thinking that WCW, Eric Bischoff, Ric Flair, Turner himself recruited Hogan because he was a 5-star technical wrestler, right? It was Hulk Hogan. And I think the way the character played out throughout the NWO storyline, and even when he brought that character to the WWF in early 2002, that character was never going to be a Bret Hart or a Shawn Michaels or a Kurt Angle or whoever. He was going to be Hogan, and Hogan, while he could wrestle, was always about the attraction much more than the wrestling. My thoughts on the whole QR code stuff. Haven't seen Raw yet last night. I'm way behind. A little busy this week. I will get to Raw hopefully tonight, maybe even tomorrow during the day when you should see the office is a complete disaster over here. But I will get to it. It's a matter of just doing it. I'm hearing it's Bray. I'm hearing it's Karrion Kross. I'm hearing Karrion Kross has been handicapped by it. So I don't know. I honestly don't, and I hope that if it is Bray, that it doesn't hinder Cross's return, because that would suck. Let's see. Let's discuss why it's a good marketing idea for Logan to... Yeah, so Zach brought this up during... we actually kind of spilled into it during Stat Boy Sports Bar a couple hours ago, and I brought this up on Open Mic Night Saturday night. What if Logan Paul wins the WWE Championship or the Universal, whatever they're calling it? I don't think it'll happen. Marketing, it would only be good if it did what the Arquette thing did. Now, people lampoon David Arquette being WWE champion. I was among them for many, many years. But at the same time, USA Today, headline front page, new eyes on the product, even though briefly for WCW's purposes, because it went under anyway. The little things that accomplished could have been better for the overall had WCW had a better machine behind it. WWE is that machine. I think if they go through with Logan Paul being the champion, and I'm not saying they will, if they go through with it, they will have all of Logan Paul's people, their eyes on the product, and they will have a plethora of new audience to dive into and expose the product to, even if he's only champion until the following SmackDown or even Survivor Series when Roman maybe gets it back as a War Games caveat. It's not a completely bad thing. It's not a good thing for me personally as a fan. Don't want to see it, but it's not the end of the world as the WWE Universe knows it if it does happen. I think it's a good marketing idea. Ken's here. Good to see Ken. Shane says he loves the first War Games match, as do I. The Horsemen against the Road Warriors and the Superpowers. Legion doing the Superpowers. Great stuff there. Psycho says, my understanding of the lineage of WCW brand goes NWA, Jim Crockett, and then WCW. Okay, so Jim Crockett Promotions was a NWA member until... Actually, they were an NWA member after he sold the company to Ted Turner and Turner Broadcasting. But Crockett was part of the NWA. If you read the different books over the years, as far as the story of the Big Gold Belt, the NWA book by Tim Hornbaker, I believe his name is. Sorry, Tim, if I screwed your last name up. And different books. By the mid-'80s, the Crockett territory had become so powerful and absorbed so many other territories, they kind of became the de facto presentation of the NWA. So it was kind of like the NWA versus the WWF for ratings in the 80s. That's kind of, I understand the perception you had, Psycho, but that was not the case. The NWA was still in existence in and of itself as a separate governing body, board, whatever, well into this century. Matter of fact, when Billy Corgan bought the brand from the idiots that were running it before 2017, it was still a governing body over different territories. Now it's just one federation, one company, one vision, if you will. When do you think WWE might come out with a new championships? Well, if you believe the rumor and innuendo, they got new tag belts already in the queue. I think if they have Roman remain the undisputed champion of the company and not just Universal or not just WWE champion, If he's one champion, they'll probably have one championship title belt. Maybe after Mania like they did before. The Triple H was on the Ringer. Thank you, Safin. I appreciate that. Casa says, what was better to witness live, NXT War Games or TNA Six Sides of Steel? Shit. That's a little hard, Jay, and I only say that because Six Sides of Steel was part of the trip to Orlando, which was part of Team XMV's going there. We got to go to Universal City Walk in Orlando. We got to go to Epcot the next day, and seeing that show was awesome. And seeing Randy Savage's last official in-ring match, even though he was in the ring for about 2 minutes. I'll say the TNA show, but it was pretty cool to see a War Games match live, even though it was the WWE NXT version. But TNA was the answer to that question. Do I think Triple H will push Jinder Mahal again? I don't know. I think Jinder has a lot of potential to be more than just your stereotypical, racial angle heel. They made him champion under Vince. And again, we've been saying it since June. Never say never anymore with WWE. The old man's gone, so never say never with anything. Have I ever seen Hogan's matches in Japan? And if so, what were the matches? Were the matches better technically than... Oh, definitely better technically than the American matches. He had a good series of matches early on before he became Hulk Hogan, if that makes any sense. Like before he became the big, red and yellow superhero. He wrestled Inoki quite a few times over there, if I remember right. I know when in his last championship run in 93, when he never defended the title here after WrestleMania 9, I think he had a match against Great Muta, and then he tagged with Muta against others. And if you watch his matches, he's actually technically sound. But I don't see it. I don't see it near enough because the clips are on YouTube. I just haven't had a chance to watch them, but they're definitely better technically sound than his matches here in this country. What's the best technical match I've witnessed live? Jesus. I think Aaron, if he's watching, will back me up. JJ probably as well, if you're still here, Jay. AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, 16-minute time limit draw. PWG Championship versus TNA X Division Championship. Jason takes PWG on Friday, May 13th, 2005. Going too far. Let's see. Trying to scroll here, bear with me here. So when I say Hogan's overrated, I was meaning technically in the ring. But I did point out that Hollywood Hogan, in the NWO, definitely revolutionized the industry and made this for as long as it did. Who had the bigger downfall? TNA, WCW, AEW. Well, TNA and AEW are still in business. Impact Wrestling's still a thing. AEW is still kicking. They've had a bad month, a very bad month, when it comes to public perception. Tomorrow night could be a big indicator as to where they go from here. So don't write them off yet. And Impact, TNA, whatever you want to call them, they're still around. They actually have a show on Friday. Victory Road is coming up this Friday night on Impact Plus, and they're going to have a good Impact show before that, the previous night. And then Bound for Glory is in a few weeks. So WCW is the answer because the only ones that actually did go down. Report card says, do you think the Usos won't defend the gold at Extreme Rules after inevitably beating the Brawling Brutes? We'll see. I think they should defend the titles. If Roman's Roman's not going to defend his championship at Extreme Rules, it looks like. So maybe the Usos won't. Maybe they'll wait till Crown Jewel if they're allowed to fly by then. I doubt it. You know what? They actually probably will defend Extreme Rules because they're not allowed to have overseas flights. So they very likely will. Do I think superstar Bill Dundee is WWE Hall of Fame worthy? I actually like Bill Dundee. I got to see him work on tape on a lot of the Memphis stuff. He also was in WCW for a while, so definitely definitely has a place in the Hall of Fame. And again, I've been very critical, to say the very least, about a lot of people that are in the Hall of Fame, but there are a lot of people that just because I feel they don't belong doesn't mean they don't. And I think Bill Dundee definitely has his place, maybe in the legacy section. Do I think Triple H will move away from pushing people based on their ethnicity like Vince did, Del Rio and Mahal, and just push them as superstars? I would like to think that Triple H will do that. But we'll see. They seem to have stuff in place as of now where they're not going to have those guys. I mean, Del Rio's made himself a pariah. Let's not even kid ourselves. So I don't think it's going to be a thing. But Mahal's a possibility if Triple H sees something in that we don't necessarily. I'll go ahead and hold off on this until later, because WrestleMania is so far still. It really is. And it's hard to kind of predict at this point. Hi, Jeff. Happy Tuesday. Hope you are doing well. And same with everyone in the live chat. Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, I don't know why the mods didn't get that. That's interesting. What about Bryan Danielson versus Claudio Castagnoli in the dreaded rest hold match? You know what, Jay? I wasn't there for that. I was at Rocky Horror that night. Buddy of mine that was on cast actually came and told me about that match. I haven't seen it. To this day, I haven't seen it. I actually did. Okay, so it's not a reboot. Pinocchio was just a live action retelling of the classic Disney tale. I watched it. I love Pinocchio, and I loved this movie. Must recommend. Absolutely. You were thinking the Street Profits challenge Usos at Extreme Rules. Absolutely. I agree with that. Joey says, I wish Royal Rumble was now hosts at Dodger Stadium someday. Also, Maury Wills. Yeah, saw that Maury Wills passed away. For Dodger fans, look at Maury Wills. It's unfortunate he passed. The Rumble at Dodger Stadium is not a impossibility. They're having the Rumble more often at baseball stadiums. So never say never. Could be. Bill Dundee, I believe, is still alive. I believe. And by the way, Shane, okay, good. Glad to hear it, Shane. I know that was a thing for a while. No, you're good, man. That's never off topic for me, brother. I'm glad to hear she's doing better. What's next for John Cena? Jeez. Making movies, making TV shows. Hall of Fame induction, maybe. Psycho says, let's say both The Rock and Cody Rhodes were available for Mania. How would I book Roman Reigns and the World Championship? Do I split them back to WWE and Universal? I still maintain that while it would be intriguing to have the championship in play for if Rock were to challenge Roman Reigns, I don't think it's an absolute necessity for The Rock to be in the championship match. Roman Reigns and The Rock is the necessity, is the main event. Championship, yes, definitely a factor, and maybe Roman's being champion will play into the story if they get there. I would love to see Cody Rhodes get his WWE Championship win at WrestleMania against the champion. I have given up on trying to figure out what the hell the WWE is going to do, because they're having, yes, it's over in Saudi Arabia, yes, it's a right-offable pay-per-view, but I think personally that Cody should be challenging the championship, whoever's the champion of Mania, which means if they're going to have Rock and Roman, then it needs to come off of Roman. Will AEW and CM Punk ever bury the hatchet? What can they do to better again? What can they do to be better again? And CM Punk not again? I think I've kind of spun my wheels about Punk and AEW at this point. I don't know what else there is to say. We're not going to get any information, nor should we expect it. What happened in Chicago. What happened afterwards happened. And the consequences were laid down. And we have people that are out of the company for now. People that appear to be out of the company for good. So whatever I feel is really irrelevant, I guess, when it comes to that, because I'm biased because I think Punk was out of line. I think the EVPs were out of line. If everything that happened after Punk got out away from that media scrum did indeed happen, there was no right nor wrong here. There was no right. Everybody was screwed up. There's right. There's wrong. There is no right. That's what I'm trying to say. Jesus Christ, I'm exhausted. Punk going out there on at that podium and at that table just was horrible. Horribly managed, not properly managed, maintenanced, and if everything that went down the locker room after happened, that's a whole big load of other bullshit. So I personally don't care if he does make it nice with AEW again. I really don't care if I ever see him on my television screen again, and that's just the way I feel. Not a fan of the Jonathan Taylor Thomas Pinocchio, CJ. Greg says, I feel like Street Profits have had more than a few shots. I'd rather see Imperium Brazil. So I agree with that, Greg. I agree. Excuse me, JJ said that. I apologize. Greg said he's working to get a fourth for Jack of All Trades Thursday. This is this coming Thursday, by the way. Unfortunately, a contestant had to drop out. Well, Greg, that's my last official day I can do anything prior to starting at Disney the next day. So I am always happy to tag in for Jack of All Trades, if nothing else, sir. Will Reigns Rock be better than Rock Cena 2? Yes. With the White Rabbit stuff and lights going... Okay, so we talked about Bray earlier. We'll see. We'll see about Bray Wyatt on Thursday. Thoughts on reports that Kenny had negotiations with WWE during his injury? Not surprised. Don't be surprised if he signs with WWE once his contract with AEW is up. Thoughts on Stephanie, Triple H, and Nick Khan adding holiday dates on their calendar as far as they gave Juneteenth, I think the week of Thanksgiving or day before Thanksgiving or whatever it was, and Veterans Day on their paid days. That's awesome. I think that's great of management to do that. That's very cool on their part. Let's say AEW fires the Bucks and Kenny. Will Triple H bring them into the main roster and possibly join forces with Cody? Never say never. Greg, Zach says he's in if you need a fourth also. So there is that. Unpopular opinion, Batista hasn't had many memorable matches. He was injured half his whole run. Definitely injured a lot. Memorable matches, no. I'll say memorable moments. Evolution. His program, The Undertaker, I thought was pretty cool. Turning on Ray was a memorable moment. The stuff with Cena at the end of his first run was a memorable moment. Memorable moments. Returning in 2014. Yes, people shit on him, Batista, right? But I, again, never been a big fan of Dave, Batista in the wrestling ring, but I still say he earned his Hall of Fame induction whenever it's actually enacted, because he was supposed to get it during the pandemic and it didn't work out. Any reason why Dana Brooke and Becky Lynch not at Raw right now? I don't know about Becky or Dana, honestly. I know we talked about during Snapboy Sports Bar that the 24/7 championship is apparently being defended on house shows, so that's cool. Becky's hurt. Becky got hurt during her match with Bianca at SummerSlam. She either had surgery or is rehabbing or something like that. Batista great match with Edge. Yes, he did have matches with Edge and Undertaker that were very well done. I can't even argue that point. Who are the 5 NXT stars that WWE should push once Braun leaves? God, I don't watch NXT near enough with a good eye of scrutiny to really say that. But my goodness, can I get Mandy Rose on Talk Wrestling? I wish. That'd be wonderful. I mean, if you're going with people that are there right now, Psycho, I would say if Carmelo's not leaving, he should be the champion. He should be the NXT champion, not the North American champion. I know they're having a ladder match to crown a new champion. That's what I heard anyway. I haven't seen the show yet. Carmelo, definitely. The folks in Diamond Mine, definitely. let's see, the Creed brothers, Creevy brothers. I'm sorry, I forgot the names. I apologize. The Briggs boys from NXT UK, they were champions for a while there. Tyler Bate, another guy. There's so many different people that still can have an opportunity in whatever version of NXT. Cameron Grimes, I would love to see him get a renewed push. That'd be wonderful. There's a lot. There's definitely a lot of potential there. All right. Oh, hang on. Now I'm getting a text. What the hell now? I can't check text. I'm on Instagram. Just hang on. Sorry, guys. Hang on one second. Oh, man. Okay. One more question. Do I think Roderick Strong should be called up? No, I don't. Should WWE reform the Hurt business? They were the best thing about Raw during the pandemic. I think that's run its course. I like them too, but I think it's run its course. All right, guys, I'm gonna call it here because I gotta go. I've been called for dad duty, doing the homework thing, so I get to go be part of that. That's always cool. A lot of cool stuff coming up. Sorry if the background changes because I realized I didn't load any of the graphics in like I meant to. So I'm gonna go over to the Stat Boy Sports Bar section. So again, forgive me if the graphic changes. It didn't. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and get my name off there first off. That looks weird in orange. So a lot of cool stuff coming up here in the next little while here. Of course, tonight. Talk Wrestling is here, and you can catch that every Tuesday, at least for now. We'll see if we are back next week live. But the Casa Studios channel has stuff going on 7 days a week now. I'm so happy for JJ and everybody at the Casa doing their thing. And this week on Renegades Reviews, yesterday was Fast Times at Ridgemont High, one of the great. These all are great classic 80s school-centric movies, which is his theme this month, back to school. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, The Breakfast Club tomorrow, Ferris Bueller's Day Off on Friday, Clerks 3, which is not part of the school theme, but it is his new release Saturday movie, which, again, if you're a fan of the Views universe, if you're a fan of the Clerks saga, you have to find a way to see this movie. Oh my God, it's a tearjerker, to be sure. Greg Cherry Show, of course, tomorrow. I'll be there with Mr. Cherry, along with maybe Big G and whoever else Greg gets to pop in. Open mic night this weekend, again on the Casting Studios. And with No DQ, you can always see if I scroll up here. I think I saved it. Oh, I did. Look at me. I'm so proud of myself. Always, NoDQ.com. They have the review on Thursdays, TV reviews of Dynamite, and Rampage if it's live, SmackDown, Raw, and, of course, Tuesday nights is me. So be sure you check out NoDQ.com. For all your latest news and wrestling. You can check them out across social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and all that jazz. That's it for good old JM. Thank you all very much. We'll see you guys whenever I see you. I mean, really, on this front. I don't know when I'm going to be back on Talk Wrestling, but I hope it's soon. So thank you all very much. Have a wonderful night. We will see you guys next time.